Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to How to Sell Your Business. My name is Josh Strittmatter, and I'm your presenter today. Now, a little bit about information about me before we get started. I'm a continuing education instructor at UTA, Tarleton, and TCC, and have been for the last 10 years. Also a certified financial planner, as well as a business owner since 2007. Disclaimer before we get started. All of the information that we discussed today is purely educational, so please talk to your licensed professional before taking any action on the information. If you have questions today, feel free to just use your chat feature in your screen, and I'm happy to answer those questions as we go along. And I'll also take some questions at the end as well. So, starting off with our objectives for today's class. Today, we're going to discuss steps and things to consider for selling a business, and then help you to begin to put in place a plan for your business as well as for your life after your business. We're going to talk about 4 key areas today. First is why sell your business. The second is steps to sell a business. And then 3, closing a business, and 4, succession planning. So jumping right in, why should you sell your business? Well, business owners have various reasons why they sell their business. I've been in business for a long time, and I think all of these things have crossed my mind along that point. And one of them is a job offer from another company. Working for yourself is hard work, and as I've been in business, I've certainly got job offers from other companies that I've thought about. Promising offer to buy. I've been in business for a long time as well, and so I get offers to buy my business all the time. And so that's something that I think about, and I always consider it. And most of the time, I just say no, thank you. Sales and profits may not meet your needs, so. Depending on where you're at with your business, if it's not very profitable yet, that may not be meeting your needs. And so you may need to sell it just so you can move on to something else. Also, a market or industry change. And so businesses evolve over time, markets evolve over time. Your business may not be as profitable as it once was. Might take some new blood to come and make it grow moving forward. So that might be something you're ready to pass the baton on to somebody else for. Things to consider. Are you ready to retire or have a career change? So retirement is totally different than working all the time. And so if you own your own business, if you're like me, you're always working. So retirement might be a little daunting because you would suddenly go from working for a lot of the time to not working. And so that's something to consider. And then a career change as well is something to obviously think about, make sure that that's what you're interested in doing. Another reason why people sell their businesses is they get burned out. And I can certainly see that, again, working lots of hours in your business can, after a period of time, make it to where you may not be enjoying yourself, especially if you're not taking vacations and things like that. Personal issues such as health and family. Obviously, a business can take its toll on your health if you are working quite a bit. And then also time spent away from your family can affect you, and that might be a reason why you'd want to sell. Or just a desire to go in a new direction. It's interesting. We're not living like we were 100 years ago, where our life expectancy was in our 40s, and we had one career. We can actually live well into our 90s and even hundreds these days. And so you can have multiple careers while you're alive. And so some people choose to sell just to go start something different. So if you're thinking about selling your business, there are some key steps that you need to consider. First of all, determine if your business is sellable. So is it something that somebody would buy? And a good way to think about that is it something that you would buy? And so these are things that you would probably look at if you were buying a company. Does your company have strong profits? So is it a company that will make you money? Is it in an attractive and growing industry? So again, business is evolving all the time, seems like at a faster rate. And so certain industries are growing faster than others. And certainly some industries have more profit potential than others. What are the potential buyers? And so some businesses seem to have quite a bit of buyers because they are lucrative businesses. Some businesses may not have that many buyers. A business broker can help you determine what the potential buyers are. And then good assets. So do you have good assets and quality inventory? So these are things that could be sold. Depending on the type of business that you have, if it's a service-based business, you may not have a lot of assets. If it's a manufacturing business, you may have a lot of assets. And so depending on what type of business that you have will depend upon what you can sell. And then healthy balance sheet. So how healthy is your business? Are you up and down, volatile a lot of the year, or is it nice, steady growth throughout the year? These are all things to think about as you're determining whether or not to sell your business. Step 2, determine your price. And so valuation for companies really is all over the board, depending on the type of industry that you're in. But the two main valuations that are used are revenue, and it's typically a multiple of revenue. So in my industry, for my company, it's 3 times revenue is what businesses typically sell for. Now, again, that's all over the board. So if you look at the insurance industry as an example, that's typically 1 times revenue. Some companies look at profits, and it's a multiple of profits. So 3 to 5 times profit might be a way to value the company. You also have the assets of the company. And so your cash, your inventory, things like that, that would need to be valued as well. And that's typically in addition to whatever multiple that you're doing, or it's included in that multiple, depending on the type of business. So a good tax appraiser, or excuse me, business appraiser can help you to determine the value of your company. And then once you've determined the value, you can prepare for the sale. So this is basically getting all of your ducks in a row, getting organized. So you want to resolve problems with your company. Accounts receivables need to be collected. You need to get that turnover ratio to a good number. Prepare financial statements. So I would recommend if you're trying to sell your business, get in the habit of preparing financial statements every quarter and reviewing those financial statements. If you have a business plan, that's something that you can submit as well. Getting rid of old inventory. So again, kind of getting those off of the books is a good idea. Getting office equipment in good order. Determine how you'll be compensated. And so again, determining how you're going to sell the business determines how you'll be compensated. And then secure relationships. So when you're looking to sell your business, you need to have some key relationships in place, like an attorney, a good tax accountant, financial planner, and then maybe a business broker. Those are our common relationships that you want to have as you prepare for the sale of your business. Look for prospective buyers. And so a lot of people don't think about employees as being buyers, but employees often make fantastic buyers through what's called an employee stock ownership plan. And so that can be set up, and you can pass the ownership on to the employees. You want to have conversations with them, obviously, beforehand, but that allows them to buy into the company over time. And in doing so, that provides an incentive for them to work harder because they become owners of the company. Also, customers might be a great source for a buyer of your company. So if you have a customer that you do quite a bit of business with, that might be somebody that you approach and say, hey, I noticed you do a lot of business with me. Maybe you'd like to take this over. And then business owners. Business owners are fantastic sources for people who would buy a business. And so, these might be businesses that you do business with. So somebody that helps you along the way with your business, they might be looking to take your business under their umbrella and to bring it in-house. And so that would be an excellent way to go see if they might be interested in your business to sell it. And then finally, competitors. Competitors, obviously, the way that you can probably get the most amount of money for your business. And in doing so, you obviously have to do that in a way that you're not giving away too much information when you are approaching them and providing information. But most people, if they're interested, if they're competitors that are buying companies now, they already have that in their processes, and it should be relatively easy to sell that company to them. So those are all prospective buyers for your company. And then the next step is to negotiate the deal. So one of the first things you should do when you're negotiating your sale of your business is make sure that you qualify your buyer. So there are lots of people out there that may want to buy your business, but they may not have the funds to do that. So if you came to me and said, hey, I want to buy my business, I'd say, well, you have to show me the money, right? So that would be a loan, maybe a letter from your bank or your lender to show me that you do indeed have the funds available before we even start the entire process of determining whether or not it's a good fit for us. Next is determine how you want to get paid. So lump sum versus installments. Lump sums are where you just pay me one lump sum and then we're done. So you write a check and you've bought my business. Versus installments, that's typically over a period of years that you're paying me off. And so that may be where you pay a percentage in the first year and then a percentage in the second year and then a final payment in the third year. And there's tax ramifications of that. So a lump sum is typically less tax advantageous rather, and then an installment is more tax advantageous for you. So that's where you want to talk to your CPA, your tax attorney, to talk about what is the best strategy for how to take payment. If you're thinking about staying in the same industry, you need to seriously consider your non-compete that they would have you sign. You may want to stay in the same and live in the same city. And so a non-compete may prevent you from doing what you want to do in this same city. So seriously take a look at that, make sure it's something that you are comfortable with. Once you've sold the business, you would typically, they would hire you, depending on the business, they may hire you to stay on and to assist with the management and also hire you as an employee. And so they may want to use your expertise to train the next person, to train your replacement. And so that's where you can negotiate a employment contract with them to make sure that you're being fairly compensated for your time. Down payment, obviously a down payment is a good thing if you're not taking a lump sum payment. So a down payment is that amount that you're wanting to take up front, and it should be a substantial sum, because there is risk in selling your business to somebody who can't particularly finish that sale or who can't manage that business. So getting a large down payment up front is a good idea. And then collateral is a good idea to think about as well. If again the business kind of goes downhill while they are the owners and paying you is dependent upon the revenue of that company, you may be wanting to have collateral in case they can't pay you. In some cases, I've seen where people have just taken the company back over, and that's kind of a win for the seller, because now they've been able to bring back the business so that they can continue to run it and then also sell it again. But those are all things to negotiate as you're looking at the deal. And then looking at closing a business. And so, some businesses may make more sense just to close the business. And then depending on how you sell the business, and so most businesses are sold in one of two ways. They're sold as either asset sales, or they're sold as shares in the stock or ownership of the company. So the preferred way for the buyer is typically the purchase of the assets. And that way they don't have to take on the liabilities of that company. And also liabilities that are unknown. And that's the main reason why people don't buy shares of companies, of private companies, because they are unaware of what liabilities may be out there. They could come up, 2 or 3 years later and say, hey, this company owes me money. Whereas the seller typically prefers a stock sale. And because that's a clean way and a tax advantage way to basically sell that company to the buyer. So you need to make sure you understand those two different methodologies. And again, once you do sell the business, if you sell it through an asset sale, you'll close your existing business. And there's some steps that you need to take. Or again, if you choose just to close the business and not sell it, you'll close the business. So here are the things to think about. You want to follow the instructions in the founding document. So if you have an operating agreement, if you have a partnership agreement, things like that, you'll want to consult those documents to see how the company can be closed. Next is, again, selling the business assets. So you want to get rid of all of your assets and try to get as much as you can for those assets. Cancel permits, licenses, lease agreements. Typically, all of these have annual costs. So by canceling them, they don't come back up for renewal. And then comply with federal income tax law. So you would need to file a form to close the business with both the state and with the IRS. So keep in mind that if you don't tell them, they don't know. And then resolve outstanding issues with customers, creditors, and suppliers. Maintain records. So it's recommended that you keep records for 7 years. And then get professional help. As I mentioned, getting that team together, your attorney, your CPA, your planner, and then again, your business broker are the typical team that you have for closing a business. Let's next talk about succession planning. And so with succession planning, this is having a plan in place so that if something happens to you or you want to sell it or give it to somebody in the future, it's written down. So a plan for someone to either own or run your business after you retire or you become unable to do so. And things to consider with a succession plan are that you should, just like selling your company, start early. And I didn't mention that earlier, is when you want to sell your business, it's recommended that you start about 5 years in advance of selling that business. Now, you don't have to, but it just allows you to start looking at all the different things that you need to know to sell your business. And same thing with a succession plan, is it makes a lot of sense to start about 5 years before you plan on giving that or selling that business to someone else. Identify successors. And so successors are typically employees or family members. So that's where you'd want to have a training program and an overall plan for them to take over that company over a period of years. And so most publicly traded companies have successor plans for all of their C-level roles. You know, the CEO level is usually training their successor many years in advance, and so should you as a business owner. Plan for tax exposure. So again, working with a tax advisor will help you to make sure that you're getting all the tax benefits that you can. And again, getting advice is important. And once you have sold your business, finally, you will have to retire to something, folks. And so it's good to not only plan the sell of your business, but also to plan what you're going to do after you've sold your business. So your life after your business. So where would you want to retire to? Or if you're not retiring, what would you want to do as your next job? What will you do in retirement? A lot of people plan financially for retirement, so they save the money that they need, but they don't think about what they're going to do in retirement. So oftentimes people are bored. They don't have things that they can do, and then they get restless. And so remember that you have to keep your mind and your body active in retirement. I've worked with lots of people over the years who were going 90 miles an hour when they were working, and then they suddenly retired and went to just a crawl. And so I've seen lots of people, once they did that, their health began to deteriorate. And some of them have died over the years. I think the human body is not meant to go really fast for 30, 40 years and then just stop. And so I would recommend that you have a plan for how you're going to stay active and stay busy in retirement. And again, keep your mind active. One of the things that we talk about today is longevity. Longevity is getting longer. And so people are living longer and longer lives, folks, because medicine keeps getting better. So the reality for most people today is that they're probably going to live until their 90s and 100s. And so that means for many people who've retired in their 60s, that's another 30 plus years of being retired. And I think for a lot of people, what they're thinking about these days is they're really questioning whether or not they fully want to retire. and maybe they want to work part-time, or they want to do have a different career, go back to school, things like that. So you're going to have some time to fill, and I recommend that you plan for that time so that when you get there, you will have something to do. All right, folks. So that is how to sell your business, and what you learned today are reasons for selling and closing a business, steps for selling or closing a business, and steps for succession planning. What are your next steps? Well, plan for the possibility of selling and closing your business. I would take the information that you learned today. I know this today was very high level, but now it's time to get into the details, folks. If you're seriously thinking about selling your business, so start that process, create a deadline for yourself for selling that business or for having a succession plan in place, whatever the plan is that you need to have. Give yourself some goals, give yourself some deadlines. Otherwise, it's one of those things that just keeps getting pushed off into the future. So again, usually 5 years in advance is when you should start this process. So if you're 5 years or sooner, now is the time to get going. And again, don't forget to plan for life after your business. So thank you very much for attending today. If you've enjoyed this presentation, please sign up for more continuing education classes. We've got tons of classes on the UTA website. You can go to that website there to sign up for additional classes that I will be teaching. If you need help, please reach out to us on that phone number. You're also welcome to email me at info@strittmatterwealth.com, and expect to receive an email from us with a free financial organizer and some links for some financial calculators. If you, again, have questions about selling your business, please give us a call. We're happy to help. Other than that, I'm going to take some questions now and see if we have anybody that has any questions. Any questions on selling your business, folks? Well, I don't see any questions. Let's see.
Sarah says she has 2 for sale.
2 businesses for sale. And what's your question, Ms. Sarah? Okay. Just shoot me an email with those questions and I'm happy to answer them for you.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all sharing your lunchtime with us. If you have any questions, you will be able to email Josh directly. I know he also recorded today's session in case things were a little too fast or maybe you joined in a little too late. You can get that from Josh as well. The whole webinar was recorded. So just enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend and continue to stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.